TrekWars Duels Across the Stars. Episode 9, Such Sweet Sorrow.
Romance has engulfed the universes of Star Trek and Star Wars. With love in the air, everyone is en route to DS9's legendary promenade to be serenaded at the various romantic establishments. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of the station, a scorned senator has stopped all couples from docking with the infamous space station. While the Republic Senate endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, guardians of peace and romance, to settle the conflict by picking their top 5 couples. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 9, Top 5 Couples, Such Sweet Sorrow. My name is Olympus and my fellow host here is Ben Kurno. Hello matey, how you getting on?
Oh, not too bad, and I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day yesterday, which is our theme for today, or that's what my thought was on the theme today, whether the Olympus has gone on the same lines and gone romantic couples.
We'll
Which I
find out
had,
in
I
a
suppose.
minute.
Yeah.
Yes. That actually segues us very nicely into the rules for our top picks. So I will start with mine then. I have gone for romantic couples or paired couples. So if it's like a duo act, inverted commas or something like that. So I have I've used the rules to open it up and look at more than just romance. So I do have some romantic picks. I've got some not romantic picks. I might even have a pick which isn't romantic but bloody well should be. Let's wait and see.
Oh, makes me think of mine actually. I've decided, with your last comment there, I've decided not to go down the fanfic or the should have, could have, would have sign of
Awesome.
that. I have gone romantic couples. They should have an on-screen or on-game or on-book romance at some point in the game, or there's one that might be very close to them. They probably unofficially were a couple, but I don't think it was directly mentioned in the film. Yeah. Other than that, that's where I've gone on my rules acquisition.
Fantastic. Unless I'm missing anything then, should we jump straight in?
Oh, why not?
Do you want to go first or will I?
Or I'll tell you what. I'll let you go last, and you can have the last pick of the
Oh,
day. So
that is very kind. Thank you.
yeah. And this one is going to be from Star Wars, and it's going to be from The Last Jedi, and that's Rose Tico and Finn. And that's the one I was referring to, that it was very close to being official, but it's official without being official. Unofficially
Yes.
official.
Anyone who has any hate mail for us regarding that pick, please go to TrekWars Duels Across the Stars at gmail.com. That's, by the way, not our actual email address. So sorry whoever ended up getting spammed with hate mail.
Yeah. So I know these are not one of the most popular characters by some. I did like Rose Tico as a character, and her death was great, but not her death, her sister's death was good for the film. I'll rephrase that because that's never great in a real life. But anyway, this is about romantic couples, so, and yeah, her saving Finn were at that from killing himself was great, in my opinion, a very romantic parent thing, and that scene at the after where she was looking after him did it for me. before going on to anything else depressing, any thoughts, Olympus?
It's a lovely pick. I didn't expect you to pick that. I can see now why you think we might get some interesting feedback. So again, anyone who wants to add any comments onto the YouTube channel, please do give us your thoughts on our picks. And also, by the way, share your picks that you have as well around your top 5 couples across both franchises. I forgot to plug that at the start, so please do that too.
Yeah. And yeah, one thing that we haven't done recently is we don't know each other's pick beforehand either. So.
Yes. All right. Why? I don't believe I can't believe that I'm getting tongue tied. I can't believe that I forgot that. That's the point. Neither of us know our picks. We don't share it just for the fun of it. It just adds a bit more fun into us recording this, doesn't it, Ben?
Definitely. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Good picks. And
Any-
not some I'd have thought of.
Yeah. Fair enough. Unless you've got any more comments on those two, I heard, that you have another pick.
Yeah, I'll round off by commenting Finn is a character I actually like and wish they'd utilised more. I think they could have thrown the whole Jedi Force side of it towards him. I think they were hinting at that at points, and that could have actually enhanced and complicated that relationship that you just flagged with Tico. Did you say her name was?
Yeah, Rose Tico.
Which leads me very much to the next point. I found Tico's character to be very not memorable in the slightest, which is a real shame. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch these because I know who you're talking about, but she just didn't leave an impression for me, and I think that just shows how much of a letdown that particular character was from maybe a writing perspective for me personally. It just ultimately, I think they could have done a lot more with both of those characters.
Oh, I agree. They could have done more in that film. I think it was enough, and they should have done more in the next film.
Yes, absolutely, they should have.
For me, okay, she's memorable, but not in necessarily the same level as I would say the main cast was or should be. She is a supporting character in theory. She is she was memorable enough.
Yeah, I just wish that they did more with her. Is the message I'm trying to get across. I love the pick. As I said, it isn't a pick I would have thought of, which is they're the kind of picks I love when I go, oh, why didn't I think of that? Because there was definitely some really good chemistry between the two characters, and I just wish that they had evolved that and gotten into it a bit more.
Actually, that sums it up. Is there was chemistry between the two characters in that film, and I liked it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Anyway, what's your number 5 pick?
Ooh, my number 5 pick is also Star Wars, and it is Obi-Wan Kenobi and Satine. So for anyone who has watched the Clone Wars, we got a shock surprise when visiting Mandalore, and basically the leader of Mandalore at that point in time, Satine, is blah, 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 blah. I'm going to edit that blurg out, but she's it's revealed that she and Obi-Wan had a bit of a romantic fling type chemistry in the past. So it was a previous visit, I think. Don't quote me on this, my memory's failing me, but I think it was the first time he visited with Qui-Gon. And it was a shocker. You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favourite Star Wars character. And before watching those episodes in Clone Wars, I had no idea about this at all. Didn't expect him to go down that route of revealing that part of his backstory, but it actually helps flesh out and build up his character a bit more. It makes him a little bit more human, a little bit more flawed, if you could say that, when you consider the Jedi Doctrine and what he represents as part of that. And yeah, ultimately it's very good. Satine as a character, I don't have too much to say, but the voice acting combined with the animation between the two characters shows you from the onset, before it's even revealed what was going on, that they had some chemistry in the past, and now it's a little bit tense, a little bit awkward. So it made for some very fun, interesting episodes.
Cool. I'm glad you picked this. It's something I am not knowledgeable too much about, because I know I'm doing a Star Trek and Star Wars podcast, but I haven't actually watched the Clone Wars other than a few episodes. But I have heard of this one, and I believe you're right when what I've heard that it was uh, when he was with Qui-Gon, I believe, from what I've heard of from other people. But am I right in she is Bo-Katan's sister?
Correct.
Yeah.
She is. And Bo-Katan, another one of my favourite characters in Star Wars franchise.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. No, but lovely pick. Unfortunately, as I said, don't know too much about this episode, but I'm glad you picked it. I'm really glad.
Thank you. Over to you then, mate. What's your number 4?
Oh, so I'm going to pick the first Star Trek couple of the evening. Potentially the last, but definitely the first. And I'm going to pick B'Elanna Torres and Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager. It's these are a great couple that built up over time, having a bit of romance, and both actually I would say maturing over time with the with the help of each other. I would say it's one of those ones which goes from your lovey-dovey romance to your sensible adult romance. I think it has its there, and they're all there for each other all the time. Especially one of the episodes where they get abducted and made into a workforce. The episode Workforce, and Tom is still there, even without knowing it, is looking after her through that episode, and just love them as a couple. And I still don't know if they've who out of those two have officially changed their name to.
They never reveal it, do they? But that's a nice little twist as well. I like how they don't actually reveal that. Beautiful pick. Actually, in my honourable mentions. And I think one of the things I loved the most about that relationship in Voyager is that it helps enhance and develop both their characters a bit further, especially Paris. You know, Paris at the start is a bit of that Han Solo type rogue, a bit childish, a bit silly. By the time you get to that point when B'Elanna and his relationship has settled, you're looking at a grown-up, inverted commas. So yeah, it really helps round off his character development for me.
Oh, no, completely agree on that, yeah. I don't have much more to add about that, but other than I would like to also see more about from Muriel, their daughter, in some of the other episodes.
On that, the original Star Trek Online story arc for the Federation had their daughter in it.
I've got to get to that. I've got to find that.
Yeah, it did, and then they've revamped. It was maybe a couple of years ago now that they've revamped and remastered that series of quests. So it's the Klingon War ones, and it added and enhanced to existing episodes, but they also removed a couple of episodes. That's one that they removed, so she's not in it anymore.
Damn.
I was hoping that they were just re-enhancing and would eventually throw it back in, but they never have, which is a shame because it's an episode I liked because it's that throwback to B'Elanna and Tom.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully maybe in Lower Decks that's maybe the other option is they've had Tom in it and Nick Locarno in it, so maybe have Muriel.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
So yeah, that was my number 4 pick. B'Elanna Torres and Tom Paris.
Fantastic. On to my number 4 then. Sticking Star Trek as well. Going into Lower Decks. This is my first not lovey-dovey relationship. And it's not one that... Well, I'm saying it's not one that is hinted at suggesting that there ever would be. But it is probably one I would vote for, and that is Beckett Mariner and Bradford Boimler. They are a phenomenal duo in Lower Decks. They are 2 characters of 4 characters that really make that show for me, and it's their dynamic and how they bounce off each other, the humour they have between each other, and I mean the voice actors do so phenomenally in bringing them both to life individually and together. They're a dynamic duo. Simple as that, and I love seeing their interactions in every single episode. I can't think of a single episode of Lower Decks where I find either of them annoying or flat or anything like that. They're just alive, full of energy, and at their best when they're together, even though when they are together, it's when the worst possible stuff tends to happen. Lovely dynamic. And that's my number 4 choice for the couple.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ben? Were you expecting that?
I was not expecting that, to be honest. But as soon as you said Lower Decks, those were the first 2 names that came to mind. But they are a dynamic duo. I love them in Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. I was not expecting when they announced Lower Decks that I would actually any much enjoy it. I thought I'd be forcing my way through it just to try to be a completionist, and no, I was not.
I thought a very similar thing about Lower Decks as well, and I was so happy that I was wrong. Absolutely love the series, and I'm glad you mentioned their live action debut in Strange New Worlds. Again, that was done brilliantly. Same chemistry between the 2 characters in Strange New Worlds that you see as well, and it just brought them to life even more.
Yeah, they're definitely a brilliant pair that bounce off each other. Boimler's nervousness, Mariner's confidence, maybe overconfidence sometimes, but they work great together, and I really want to watch that through again. So.
Me too. I think I've watched it through 3 times now, and I'm already ready for the 4th. Last time I rewatched it was only maybe a month ago.
Oh God. Yeah, I might have to do that because there are short episodes, but I'm glad you picked them, and I'm just thinking both the other ones. Tindy is great as well, and I've just had a mind blank on the 4th person.
Rutherford.
Rutherford, thank you. Sorry.
Samantha and Rutherford.
Yeah, and those. Actually, you could almost put those 2 as a couple first because they had that pretend romance scene.
Hold that thought. That's all I'll say.
In that case, shall we get on to number 3 picks then?
Go for it, mate. Give us your number 3.
So, this is the first of my almost that have been on my list since I was first thinking of that. And I'm going to go by... I was going to say their surnames, which is correct, but I'm going to go by their symbiont names. Dax and Khan.
Ooh.
So, this is from Deep Space Nine, and we meet them as Jadzia Dax and Lenara Khan in this episode. Both of them are joined trills, and they were married before under their previous host names, Darius and Delani. And this is we are made to believe this is the first time they've met since Darius Dax died, and made Khan and Delani Khan a widow. And in Trill lore, Trill society, previous hosts are not allowed to have relationships again, as in romantic relationships, and they are throughout pretending to be professional and being friends throughout.
Keyword pretending.
Yeah. So it's quite quickly that these 2 went in nearly and really went back into a relationship, and Judge really, by the end of it, she was the one who was prepared to give up everything for it, Unfortunately, the Nara didn't. It would have been nice to see them be a relationship for a while, but it wasn't to be. And not that it should matter, but this was the first gay kiss of any kind, first lesbian uh, kiss on the thing on in Star Trek anyway. Uh, so it does have its thing for making normality normal again. But anyway, they were a great couple. They had chemistry with each other. They both had yeah both acted well. They looked great together.
Good pick, good pick.
Anyway,
And I'm ashamed to say, because I have only seen DS9 the whole way through once, I barely remember that episode. I've just got vague recollections. So, really glad that you've picked something that I can't really remember because it's quite fresh. I'm gonna have to go and find the episode and rewatch it.
I believe it's called Rejoined.
Rejoined. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll find that on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
It's I love the Trill as a species, especially the symbiote element, which in TNG, I think it was kind of suggested that's what all Trill did, and DS9 did a phenomenal job of fleshing out and making more interesting, more in depth, and adding a lot more lore to it. But I digress away from couples. Sorry. Just Trill are one of my favourite species in Star Trek.
Yeah. That's the first episode on DS9 with the Trills, with Crusher getting in romance. That was really considered by me as well. That was a good relationship as well.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With that shocking twist.
Yeah. Oh, tell you what. Yeah, that's my number 3 picks. Dax and Khan. Not Khan, but Khan. One N.
One N, not two. That takes me to my number 3. I'm staying with Star Trek Lower Decks, and it is Tendi and Rutherford. They are an absolute cute, adorable, dynamic duo, and again, they are a dynamic duo in a very similar way to Beckett and Boimler, or Mariner and Boimler, I should say. But what's different here is that they have a very obvious romantic chemistry from the word go that they completely ignore / are almost oblivious to. Now, Tendi has a couple of moments where she kind of shows a little bit of jealousy here and there when Rutherford's going on dates, and I can't remember the specific detail, but there's at least one episode where Rutherford shows a little bit of jealousy at something that's going on with Tendi, so you have a little bit of that going on. And then there's an episode, I think it's in the latest season, when they are thrust together and they have to pretend to be a married couple and have fun on Ferenginar, of all places, and that spirals out of control. I won't ruin it. The season is still quite new, so I'd recommend anyone who hasn't watched it yet to do so. But it spirals totally out of control. You have hilarious moments with them both when they realise all of a sudden they kick off thinking it's going to be great fun playing and acting like this, and then as soon as they realise that they both actually have some form of feelings for each other, it becomes very, very awkward very, very quickly, and the Ferengi throw all sorts of hilarious scenarios and stuff at them that just make it an episode that I was laughing tears of joy at, and it ends with them saying, yeah, we're better as friends anyway. We're best friends, we're cool, and then the pair of them jump into a Jeffrey's tube together, all entangled and entwined, legs over each other and everything, and you're just looking at it going, you two are oblivious. And it's a couple that I really wish would actually happen. They would work so well together, I think. But equally, I don't think the show's going to do that because they've got so much chemistry and humour through the formula that they have in place already. So yes, Tendi and Rutherford for their dynamic duo-esqueness, and also for the potential romance and the hilarity that ensues.
Yeah, no, a great couple, a great friendship couple. and I'm going to see if I can go for 2 in a row here by mentioning another couple that are in that episode, and seeing if that comes up on your list and you're telling me to hold. And that was Lita and Rom, which again are another great couple. That was,
Hold that thought for the honourable mentions.
okay, yeah, no, but no, yeah, yeah. Again, no, that is the nearest you're going to have to a couple that you're going romantic couple that you're ever going to get. Actually, they're more of a couple than some romantic couples I know, either in fiction or real life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. Yeah, great pick. Yeah,
Thank you. Which takes us on to your number 2.
You may catch a theme for this number 2, and I'm going to start with the first character being Worf, and the other being Gia Dax. So, second time she gets brought up in this, but
She's
again,
such a good character, though. I love her.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Jadzia?
How great character. And unlike the other one, which was done in our episode, this one was done over time from Wolf first appearing and meeting Jax. I'll just
merge the name, join the name together.
Yeah, Jadzia Dax and Kira Nerys all dressed up in their Camelot attire. And the thing is, like, and Dax being impressed with Worf, and I think if he could go red, I think he did make Jadzia did make him blush by saying something in Klingon, which I should really get translated, to be honest. But if anybody does know how to translate Klingon, please put it in the comments.
Google does have Klingon in its Google Translator, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's very accurate.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, the argument's there, but yeah. And also, was this one of the things that I really enjoyed from this couple was going through the war when they were apart. Worf always talking about it, and it's like almost becoming insufferable to everybody around him when it come to this romance.
Yes, indeed.
And also, yeah, that wedding, whereas almost came off, got called off. Jadzia Dax having that hen party beforehand, with that great dancing with Nog and the very underdressed Starfleet officer from another ship somewhere. Yeah. You want to say a comment there, Olympus, before?
Yes. I would add that Worf, for me, that relationship. I've said this with a couple of choices already, and I'm seeing a theme there in terms of my impressions of what I think are good relationships, and relationships that build the characters' story and help them develop as characters. And this was just a character that I loved from The Next Generation, for starters, but and with a character that I love from DS9. It just helped round off his character so nicely. It gave him, in my mind, the piece that he'd been looking for such a long time, that he probably thought he could have had with his former mate, who was the mother of Alexander, and that ended tragically. You don't really see him in a romantic relationship again until Jadzia, which I think is very telling and probably the right thing to do. And equally, you also see that they're not perfect. They rub each other the wrong way. They get into arguments. There's an entire episode where I think the relationship nearly breaks down, because they're going through a really tough spot, but they pull through it and find a mutual ground for everything. And actually, everything they go through in that episode brings them together and makes them stronger, which makes what happens to Jadzia just absolutely heartbreaking, not just for losing her, but seeing Worf have to go through that heartbreak and then be forced to face the Dax symbiote so soon afterwards, it was absolutely heartbreaking. So it's probably my favourite character story arc in DS9, which is why they were my number 2.
Yeah, it was your number 2 as well.
It was my number 2.
Sorry.
So we're back to it, guys. We're back on track now. We went an episode or so where we didn't have any similar or same picks. We've broken through it again. We're back to the trend.
Yay. Great minds think alike, I suppose.
Not only the same pick, but on the same number.
Brilliant. And actually, thinking about meeting the Dax symbiote again, I just want to add something onto this.
Go for it.
I'm glad they had that interaction and then decided that Worf decided, it is Jadzia that I love, not
Dax.
Not Ezri Dax.
It was an important realization for him, wasn't it, to understand that where Jadzia's memories and experience were with Ezri, it wasn't the symbiote that he fell in love with, it was Jadzia the person. That sounds terrible now that I've said that, because it's like I'm saying that the symbiote isn't a person. Of course it is. I'm trying to think of the right way to describe this. This is where you get into really shaky political correctness level stuff. But ultimately, he was in love with Jadzia Dax, not Ezri Dax, because Ezri plus Dax makes a totally different person, and that takes a good 2 or 3 episodes, if I remember right, for Worf to fully understand. And I like how they did that as well, because it brings the viewers on that same journey. As you guys just saw there, it took me a minute, having not seen those episodes in a long time, to really get my head back around it again. And that just enhances just how good viewing and what such a good story that was.
No, I completely agree. And actually, 2 of the characters that had great story arcs, or almost 3 characters that had great story arcs there. So like Jadzia, Worf, and Dax.
Exactly. And Dax gets overlooked when you think about it from that side of things. Even though they explain and they lay it out clearly, Dax is his own or their own individual. It's always Jadzia Dax, Ezri Dax, because they are joined. But in reality, it's always that's always a 3-person scenario when you talk about. So as much as it's a couple, that's almost a trio, isn't it?
Yeah.
In some senses.
And it is, and I can't remember how many hosts there are now, but you could almost say there are 8-9 people in that relationship. Or,
Absolutely, you can, because all of their experiences add to the subsequential hosts, and then you've got that arc, haven't you? And this is me digressing, sorry everyone, but you've got that episode where Jadzia, I think it's Jadzia, keep me right, has to basically wake up one of her hidden previous hosts.
Well, actually, it happened to both of them in 2 ways, but
that's probably why I'm struggling to remember which one it was. They must have done it to both of them. Cool. It's just, again, very cleverly done. I'll stop digressing.
Yeah, no, it was Jadzia who first found about it, but Ezri decided to call on him to help with a shooting on the station. So.
Oh, that's right, and it starts unraveling. That was a good episode.
Cool. Shall I go to number 1 then?
Yes, let's hear your number 1, and I'll scoff and laugh if you've picked the same as me.
No, but again, there is a theme on this one for my top 3, and I'm going to go with Gray and Adira Tau from Discovery.
Not the 2 I picked.
So for some reason I thought Ada, but those two are a brilliant couple. I think in the show they're both very young, or both young, as in I think one of them's about 16 in the game in the TV series, even though she's in her early 20s in real life. They have this interaction between each other that's jokey and seems real to me. Have fun together. They adore each other, and uh, it's it's just an adorable relationship that just makes me smile that they have such an interaction together. I don't have much more than that. It's just whenever I think of them and see them on screen, especially together, they just make me smile. It's which I think they have with each other. They make each other smile, which I think finds just great in a relationship. Even though it's nice to have like a Dax and a Worf who have downsides and something like that, or Torres and Paris who have that rough side. I just like that adorable, enjoyable nature to them.
Sometimes you need it, don't you? And they are very. It's a very intoxicating relationship to watch. You know, you can't help but feel happy watching them.
Yeah, no, that's exactly why. I don't have much to add to it, but it just makes me happy. And Gray was having got a body after dying. Dira's going through Starfleet training. It's almost finding herself as a person. And no, I'm in. I enjoyed their relationship. I'm saying the same thing here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I totally get it. I don't have much else to add about it either because it's not a relationship that I focus too much on when watching Discovery. But I've watched the first couple of seasons several times over, but season 3 onwards I've not really watched very much. I've only watched it really the one time through, so I need to go back and look at it again. I do remember them, and I do remember that relationship. You know, that was written well, it was acted well, it was delivered well, because I know exactly who you're talking about. And yeah, as I say, they are very, very happy, bubbly, energetic, probably in part due to the age of the characters that they're playing as well. And yes, it was a lovely pick that I would not have thought of, which is nice and fresh. So if you've got nothing else to add on that, shall I move to my number 1?
Be my guest.
Interesting that I use the term number 1. This couple, so you know who it is now. This couple, their love for each other, their relationship has developed and grown over countless. Well, I call it countless. It's 7 seasons of The Next Generation. So 7 seasons of television. It has spanned over into crossovers with other shows. It has spanned novels. It has spanned movies. And it has gone into a more recent series of Star Trek Picard as well. So I'm talking, of course, about Troy and Riker. You see them together and their hint at the affection and love that they once had for each other from the very first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and you see it hinted at and sometimes outright talked about in subsequent episodes throughout that season, and it really helps, again, theme for me of the day, develop and grow those characters over time. And it's one of the things about Star Trek Nemesis that I loved, was that they started that movie with them tying the knot and getting together and making it all official, because they refound and rekindled their connection during Insurrection. So to have them start off by marrying and then ending that movie with them leaving the Enterprise together, starting their next step in their journey on the Titan, it was just a nice way to tie off their story. I know Nemesis didn't tie off a lot of things very well. that's one thing I think it did tie off quite well. And I can go on and talk about these two characters forever. I mean, Riker, I loved from the word go. From season 1, episode 1. Loved him. Troy, from season 1, episode 1, I hated her. I despised her. She was annoying. She was being overacted. So the direction that Marina Sirtis was being given was obviously just too far. But the show learned. They calmed the acting down. And by the time you were partway through season 2, I was starting to mellow and starting to like her. By the time I got to the end of season 2, she was very much a fixed character for me. And again, I think that relationship with Riker really, really helped with building up my affection for Deanna Troi as a character. What I loved... Sorry, mate, go on. You talk for a bit.
Yeah, it is a great relationship. But it took time for them to actually get back together and stay together. And I know what you say about Troy. She did have some good TNG moments, but for me, she really hit her ground running when she... is direction-wise, was when she appeared on Voyager. I hate to say that because she is a great character and had some brilliant episodes, and a fellow Brit as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But unfortunately, she does support Tottenham Hotspur, which I believe is bad. But sorry, that's going off the topic. Anyway.
No one can be perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were about to say before.
No, there's so much I can say about it. But what I would say, because again, Star Trek Picard, which has been out for a while now, we've got the 3 seasons out and done. Season 3, by far the best, especially for fans of the Next Generation. Hitting the nail on the head. People are screaming for Star Trek Legacy off the back of it. That's all I need to say about that. But what I loved about the season 1 of Picard is when they brought Picard to Nepenthe, where Troy and Riker had settled, had started building their family up, had that sad tragedy with one of their kids, but seeing them settled with a family in a place of their own, again, it took the completeness that their story had in Nemesis and added to it. It was just so heartwarming to see. So I loved that too.
Yeah.
And there's a bit as well going way back. I think it's about halfway through TNG, where Riker is sitting down in 10 Forward talking to Troy. He's been offered yet another commission. This must have been his 3rd or 4th since the season started, and he sat there saying, why am I not moving on? Why am I staying here? I gave up a lot. Like, personally, I gave up. But he was basically saying, I gave up you, Diana, to focus on my career, to get myself to captain. Why am I holding back? Am I too comfortable? Am I like not worth it anymore? She has to remind him that the Enterprise and what he's doing there and the relationships he's building, not just with her but with everyone else, is his family, and that's why he doesn't want to leave it and move on. So yeah, it's again a lovely moment between those two that isn't focused on their romance but references it, and again shows how much she knows him from their past relationship and since season 1 started. You have so many of those points throughout the Next Generation that I could be here all night talking about them. So I'm going to stop myself now and let us round off. But yeah, for me, absolutely at the top of my top 5 couples across both franchises.
And just a reminder, anybody who knows that scene, reminder, never call a man seasoned.
Yes.
Yes.
Do not call a man seasoned. It'll depress us no end. I've started getting grey hairs in my eyebrows. I'm waiting for the day that Erin says that to me, and I'm just going to be like, no.
I know, it's annoying. Yeah, I've got to tuck it behind the microphone there. Yeah.
That's what age does.
I'm going to, That's fake. That's die. That's the pretend I mode.
Totally,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Oh, that reminds me again. Total digression here, guys. But you know, what's the final two-parter called? I'm having a mind blank in TNG. Best of Both Worlds, and in the future variant, you have Data with that fake skunk stripe of grey going along the side. It's like, it makes me look refined. It's like, you look like a skunk.
Yeah, that is nice. It was better than his beard he had, but
Much better than
yeah,
his beard.
yeah. But no, great thing.
Oh
Hey, what?
no! Wait, no. So I'm gonna have to add this to an honourable mention, but Data and Tasha.
Yeah,
Fudge. I know it was only an episode, but fudge.
Oh, did you put your pick wrong? Oops, a daisy.
Not for the top. No, it wouldn't have been top one or well. Looking at these now, it might have knocked Obi-Wan Satine off. It might have, yeah, it might have knocked my other Star Wars pick off, but it's done.
Yeah.
There can be another memorable, honourable mention.
Yeah, maybe for next Valentine's Day we'll do a one-off romances or something.
Yeah.
So talking about Obi-Wan and Satine, what was your list again from 5?
Yeah, so from number 5 I had Obi-Wan and Satine from Star Wars The Clone Wars. Then I had Mariner and Boimler as a dynamic duo from Lower Decks. Then I had Tendi and Rutherford as a dynamic duo from Lower Decks, who really should be a couple. Followed by the legendary Worf and Jadzia couple in Deep Space Nine, and rounding off with my favourite couple of all time across the two franchises of William Riker and Deanna Troi.
Cool. So my number 5 is Rose Tico and Finn. Number 4, B'Elanna Torres and Tom Paris. Number 3, Dax and Khan. Number 2, Jadzia, Dax and Worf. Number 1, Gray and Adira Tell from Disco. Yeah, that was a thing, and unfortunately, I don't think the results too difficult to predict on this one. Unfortunately,
No, not this time.
Yeah, 5, 6, yeah, 8-2 for Star Trek to Star Wars.
Not surprising. I expected that. You don't have a lot of romance going on in Star Wars. If you just think about the movies themselves, outside of any side character stuff, you see you've really only got what? Anakin and Padme, Han Solo and Leia, and I can't think of any others.
Yeah,
I say outside of side character stuff, you see that's really the only two I can think of.
yeah, the ones I nearly went to actually were from Star Wars: The Old Republic. Was the romances that like Vet, Lana Beniko, Torian.
So the companion ones, which is a good choice. A relationship that I wish we could see something of from the Old Republic that we've not really seen anything of yet, but apparently you read a lot about it in one of the novels, is Satil Shan with Jace Malcolm.
Yeah, I did consider that, but because I don't think they stayed together very long, I decided not to keep that.
Yeah.
The other one, mainly, I didn't go for mainly because I hadn't played the game, but I was only aware of them through Star Wars: The Old Republic, and that's Revan and Bastila Sashan, if I can say that properly.
Yeah, Bastila Shan.
Yeah, I was considering having them on my list, but it didn't make it. And actually, the other one from the Star Wars: The Old Republic I was going to go with, and only took it off right at the last minute, was 2 characters from the starter planet of Typhon, and
yes,
Morrican and Spanos, who are 2 young Jedis, potentially being spied on by your character for having a romance together.
Yeah, who
Same thing.
cares if it's forbidden?
Yeah. Most of my characters definitely didn't care, but usually the problem with them is they decide to bribe you,
That is
which
the issue.
I would have given in. Most times I give them in and don't care, but when they start to bribe me, I decide to go, no,
I
not
would,
bothered.
yeah, I'd have pulled an
No, no.
Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan knows about Anakin and Padme. There's no way he didn't know, and he just pulls a blind eye to it. That's what I'd have done. But yeah, the fact that they bribe you just forces me to go.
Yeah. Did you have any other honourable mentions?
Yeah, I had a few. Obviously, the ones we've talked about already are like Balana and Paris, Lita and Rom, Data and Tasha, I've already mentioned, Spock and Nurse Chapel from Strange New Worlds. I think they've done that relationship brilliantly, and it's been going on for a while Spock was engaged. As soon as the engagement ended, that kicked off, and then you also have that little turbulence towards the end of the latest season. We need to see where that leads in the upcoming season. So I think they played them both very well, and it's allowed Peck to open up Spock's character in a way that probably hasn't been explored before, which I'm really enjoying watching. Then T'Pol and Trip from Star Trek Enterprise. That's a lovely relationship. Again, you see that developing over time through the meditations and stretches that T'Pol's teaching Trip. That obviously leads to a pregnancy that unfortunately ends in disaster, and that's a very heartbreaking scenario. But and it's a very testing one for their relationship. But again, I really liked the story surrounding that relationship building up. And then moving away from Trek and Wars for a moment, and I'm going to give an honourable mention to Isaac and the Chief Medical Officer, who I have... Claire, thank you. That's my wife at the back, keeping her right. Between Isaac and Claire in The Orville. And that, again, is a relationship that sort of stirs and becomes something. I think it's end of season 1 and 2... Oh, it must be. Yeah, it must be season 2. Must be season 2. It really gets into things. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If anyone likes serialized Star Trek episodes, give The Orville a shot. You will love it. But that relationship between those two characters as well, and how that develops, grows, takes a massive hit, lots of challenges, and then starts building back up again, is beautiful. So yeah, that makes my honourable mentions.
Oh yeah, no, very nice. So can I just say thank you for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe. It does do a lot to help out. Also, if you on YouTube press the bell or subscribe on podcasts, hopefully you will get in your feed the next episode after this. I know I don't plug this a lot, but I should. But Olympus, where can we find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Olympus0511, a lot more active over there now. My YouTube channel will be back in development soon, so we'll be seeing some gaming level content landing there in the next couple of months if everything goes to plan, so keep an eye out for that. Again, that's Olympus0511. And you can find me on Twitch very regularly now, several times a week, playing a series of sci-fi games and a little bit of fantasy probably in the near future, because Ben has managed to get me into World of Warcraft. So I am thoroughly enjoying that, though I'm only at the sort of starting tutorial place at the minute. So I'm also really enjoying playing Pal World at the minute, which I consider sci-fi because, you know, you're using technology to capture creatures, so that's science fiction. But yeah, I tend to play a lot of different Star Trek games, Star Wars games, that kind of stuff too. So you can find me on Twitch at Olympus0511 as well. So Ben, where can we find you?
So, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you can find me at TrekWars and Fantasy on YouTube. It's TrekWars Fantasy on Twitter, and Yeah, that's where you can find me. I also put a link for a Discord channel if you want to talk Star Trek, Star Wars in it, or role-playing games, because I do like my Star Trek Adventures role-playing games as well as various other ones. And yeah, that's where you find me. So look out for 2 weeks' time. Next 2 Thursdays' time, we will have our next episode out, which we've still got to decide after the end of this. So
That'll be our next chat.
chat, yeah. So thank you, and I suppose that's may the force be with you. I suppose.
May the force be with you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.